Being a smart and technical boxer is one thing, but being a strong one with unmatched power is another. A good example of this could be Deontay Wilder, Mike Tyson, and George Foreman.
The ropes, Foreman swinging wildly and missing, but finally...
Today, we will be taking a look at punches that you will probably remember for the rest of your life. Stay until the end for a true boxing experience. This is Boxing Matrix. Enjoy this video. The IBF 160-pound champion Michael Nunn scored an astonishing one-punch knockout of Sumbu Kalambe in the 80s. After establishing distance over the first minute, Nunn deflected a Kalambe jab with his right glove, stepped outside his opponent's left foot, and unleashed a rocket left hook to the jaw. Kalambe went down like he'd been struck by lightning and didn't come close to beating the referee's count.
The southpaw stance of Michael Nunn and the height will bother Kalambe a while. But you also have to watch how Kalambe still punches. I mean, he moves extremely well. Good upper body movement.
Nunn stepped forward for a moment for the uppercut, but didn't really land it. It's been a jabbing contest so far with the early edge to Nunn.
After Bo relinquished the title to chase big money bouts, his place was taken by two new contenders, the big Londoner Akinwande and Jeremy Williams, who also had a decent record with wins against former contenders Burt Cooper and Jesse Ferguson, and a lightning-fast 10-second victory over Arthur Weathers. The American started as the aggressor, swooping into Akinwande, but 43 seconds into the third round, the big Briton landed an extremely hard right that left Williams flat on his back and drew an audible groan from the crowd.
The middle finger on the left hand. Of course, you heard Joe Goosey say it's probably only a bruise. It feels like it's broken, but it's only a bruise. Or as they used to say in the corners, you broke it, can't break it anymore, can you?
You can't. None of you do, but let's fight.
Except the guy says, yes, but it hurts. A broken finger hurts.
I know the feeling. I've broken a couple different knuckles. You had a couple, so.
Nice right hand.
Jeremy Williams.
Nice.
There goes Williams. What a shot by Akinwande out of nowhere.
Eubank defended his WBO super middleweight title for the second time in 1992 against American boxer John Jarvis, who came into the bout with a record of 25-3 and was coming off a victory over former Eubank opponent Thulani Malinga. It only took 3 rounds for Eubank to find his distance and land the knockout blow, a brutal right hand that snapped Jarvis's head around before it bounced off the canvas.
Jarvis is doing the right thing, just moving around, taking his time. I spoke to him earlier on in the week and he said he was going to try and outbox Eubank. He said about his task quite well. He's using his boxing ability, he's moving around the ring. No great variety in what he does, but it's been effective so far. Kept Eubank at bay. You get the feeling that Eubank is just waiting. Oh, what about that? Oh, that is just right over. What a finish.
In 1994, Tony took on Prince Charles Williams for James's IBF super middleweight title. Williams was a former champion at light heavyweight and decided to move down from 175 pounds to 168, where he'd be up against a defensive master who packed a wallop. In the final minute of the final round, Williams threw a jab that missed, and he had his left arm down, providing the opportunity for Tony to counter with a vicious right hand that had Williams doing the stanky leg.
He did a lot of it on his own thinking. That's what amazes everybody. Tony is a great fighter. Now,
He adjusted in the ring, didn't he?
and his legs are strong at this point.
Let him out. Don't hold the head down. Let's go.
Prince Williams got nothing to be ashamed of. This guy is a smart fighter.
Oh, what a right hand!
1990s heavyweight contender Derek Jefferson gave us an epic knockdown drag-out slugfest when he met Maurice Harris in November of 1999. Much like the Fury Wilder 3 Classic, where both guys took turns hitting one another and also hitting the canvas, the Harris fight, won by Jefferson, thrilled millions after Jefferson landed a hook and it was lights out for Harris.
The leaping left, and you wonder if Mo Gutta can get out of the round.
Here he comes back.
Harris showing gumption with that left hook to the body, and he lands a left hook. And now Jefferson wobbles again.
Can Jefferson come back? Can he stay on his feet?
Nonito Donaire scored his first career-defining triumph and won the first of many world championships when he blasted out pre-fight favorite Vic Darchinyan to capture the IBF flyweight title. The fight was competitive going into the 5th round, with perhaps a slight edge to Donaire. However, the knockout was a stunner, quick as a flash, a Filipino flash. The challenger released a pulverizing left hook counter that knocked the Armenian-born fighter senseless.
And our panel of press row scores have it as a majority draw after 4 rounds.
I have a 39-37 as Sherman Cain does.
Sherman Cain from the Manchester Journal-Inquirer here in Connecticut. Mark Abrams, 15rounds.com. Jack Obermeyer from Boxing Digest. Coming up at the midway point of round 5.
There's the jab by Nonito Donaire at working well. Oh, boy!
Look out! Darchinyan down for the first time!
For most, Marciano's advantages in youth and power were too much for a ring-worn Jersey Joe Walcott to overcome. But more than a few saw Walcott's edge in experience, ring smarts, and technique as being the deciding factors. Marciano answered the bell for round 13. He stalked the champion from a crouch, forcing him to retreat, while brandishing his left hook, compelling Jersey Joe to be on guard for it. But when Walcott's back touched the ropes, both men unleashed big right hands, and Marciano was the quicker draw.
Well, it plainly is intent on staying away now, Pacquiao. There's the right hand, Walcott.
Golovkin was the WBA regular and IBO middleweight champion and was carving out a growing reputation on the global scene as a dangerous boxer-puncher. In the opposite corner to the hard-hitting Kazakh was Ishida. Just over 2 minutes into the round, Golovkin landed a brutal right hand as Ishida was going backwards. Ishida fell backwards like he'd been clobbered by a baseball bat, and his backwards momentum sent him partly through the bottom 2 ropes. His legs in the ring, his upper body outside of it.
Now he's taking punches defensively, not very good as Ishida.
And he has not been able, with that jab, to make him be aware that he will be punished if he comes inside.
Say Bumlani for the Japanese man. He must be a big guy over there. But he's got his hands full here against the WBA and the RBO middleweight champion. Oh, big right hand. And Ishida's done, and he's out.
8 months after he shook the world, causing the biggest upset in boxing history when he stopped Mike Tyson in 10 rounds, James Buster Douglas returned to the ring to defend his undisputed heavyweight crown for the first time. His opponent that night was the real-deal Evander Holyfield. It was as simple a night's work as Holyfield could have wished for, as he controlled Douglas like a marionette. He landed 66 of 100 punches before detonating a right cross on Douglas's chin in the 3rd.
Not too much damage.
Douglas perhaps beginning to get loose now. They wanted him to throw more combinations between rounds 2 and 3 from his corner. Meanwhile, Lou Duva was urging Holyfield on to go to the belly.
And there is the left hook underneath. Holyfield's a wonderful body puncher, and that's part of the reason he became cruiserweight champion and has moved ahead so well in the heavyweight ranks.
What a shot by Evander Holyfield!
The dazzling Jones, 23 years of age and soaring up the world middleweight rankings, met Serrano in his second fight of 1992. What Jones did to Serrano in the very first round shocked even hardened fight fans. Jones, as blindingly fast of hand as he was power-packed, landed a sickening overhand bomb of a right hand that landed flush on Serrano's unguarded temple. Falling instantly, Serrano's equilibrium had been blasted into smithereens.
One of the questions about Roy Jones Jr. has always been the critics feel that he's managed by his father and that doesn't work as a synergism, as a twosome. And yet Big Roy, as he's called, has said that he reads where managers say they become like fathers to their fighters. He says, I don't have father's become nothing. I already am his father.
At age 45, former heavyweight champion George Foreman became the oldest man to win the heavyweight crown in the 7th year of a most unlikely comeback run. They say a fighter's power is the last thing that leaves him, but in the case of George Foreman, it was every bit his will and his guile, as it was his punching power that secured his great victory against Michael Moore on this night. Mike McCallum scored a devastating 5th-round knockout of Donald Curry to retain his WBA junior middleweight title. After releasing a jab left hook combination at center ring, Curry moved back in a straight line with his right hand down. McCallum, who had held his feet and moved his head, seized the moment and followed a throwaway right uppercut with a perfect left hook that struck the challenger flush on the jaw.
Donald was throwing some beautiful combinations here. Right up over the top. McCallum is standing directly in front of Donald. That's why he's being hit. He needs to give some hand movements, left and right, side to side. He's not giving angles at all. He's directly in front of Donald. And there is a left hand by Mike McCallum that came out of the blue.
Gene Fulmer was one of the most unlikeliest middleweight champions who ever lived. Fulmer shocked the boxing world by defeating the legendary Sugar Ray Robinson. And so Sugar had to come up with a way to combat Fulmer's unorthodox way of fighting. In their rematch, early in round 5, Robinson landed a clean right cross counter that briefly stunned the granite chin champion. Then seconds later, Fulmer ran into a short, picture-perfect check left hook that dropped him.
Right hand landed by Sugar Ray Robinson to the ribs of Gene Fulmer. And Sugar Ray drops Gene Fulmer. 4.
Harold Bomber Graham, the challenger, was a very solid fighter. One of the best fighters in recent memory to never win a world title. The champion in this fight, Julian Jackson, will forever be remembered as one of the hardest punchers ever to lace up a pair of gloves. When they faced each other, Graham was completely in control and appeared to be on his way to lifting the title off Jackson by giving him a boxing lesson. However, everything changed in an instant. Graham threw a straight left, but brought his hand back too low. Jackson countered over the top and landed a right hook flush on Graham's chin. It was over.
He's been standing right in front of Jackson, actually backing him up for most of the time. And this is good stuff here. He's pinning Jackson, drawing little leads and thumping home counter punches. Using every inch. Oh, what a punch! I can't believe that. Never been stopped in his career.
In a rematch of one of the best fights of 2009, lineal middleweight champion Sergio Martinez scores the biggest knockout of 2010 when he blitzes Paul Williams in 2 rounds. After some give-and-take action in the first round, Martinez drops Williams onto his face with a hellacious left hand early in the second round, and the referee academically counts him out.
Left by Martinez. Good left hand, and down goes Williams. I think it was a right hand. Williams through the left, Williams down.
Manny Pacquiao versus Ricky Hatton in an all-time classic. Pacquiao was red hot from the opening bell. The Filipino destroyer's long power punches crashed home in the opening minute. A split second after the clapper sounded to indicate that 10 seconds remained in the second round, Pacquiao dipped to his left and released a full-force left hand to the jaw. Hatton was out upon impact and crashed to the canvas in a heap.
We get to the final 30 seconds of this second round. Needs to get to his corner just to catch his breath. The movement of Pacquiao keeping Hatton in trouble.
Manny Pacquiao never fails to surprise me with what he brings to the table. It's always a little better than I thought.
And last but not least, Roberto Duran versus Thomas Hearns. In June of 1984, Thomas Hearns scored his most ruthless and devastating finish. A vicious right hand from Hearns put the former champ into dreamland, although Duran still managed to avoid one or two potentially fight-ending shots. A pair of innocuous left jabs to the body disguised the champion's signature weapon, a pulverizing right cross. Duran was knocked out cold upon impact and landed flat on his face.
Has not hung on at all. Now, finally, he grabs Hearns. Hearns got several free shots with Roberto. He's wobbling, Jim. His legs are still wobbling. Just trying to cover up. Another solid right hand by Thomas Hearns in a combination. The referee Padilla watching. There, he's up in the air again. Duran just fighting on instinct, though, Gil. He's just hanging a big right hand. That's it, Tim. Anytime you fall forward, the fight's over, Tim. A huge right hand by...
This was our video for the punch that will never die. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Boxing can sometimes really be terrifying. This is Boxing Matrix. Thank you for watching.
And this might shock and amaze you, but I will destroy Joe Frazier.